ponder. Morning.
Morning.
In my AP Lit class, every time our students have an essay, an FRQ, every single prompt that they receive has the same word in it, no matter what. Every single prompt, the same word appears in every single prompt. What is that word, Jacob? Complex. No matter what, every prompt you get, the word complex is going to be in there. Describe the speaker's complex relationship with his father. Describe Jane's complex reaction to the letter she receives. Whatever it is, that word complex is in every single prompt. What does complex mean, Shay?
Complex, like difficult?
Oh, I failed. Yes, sir, Trevor. More than one thing. More than one thing. Complex means more than one. Aristotle said that the sign of intelligence is being able to hold more than one idea in your head simultaneously without accepting either one as true. I like that. So, complex. Can you talk about more than one thing at once? Can you talk about more than one thing in relation to one another? So I was thinking about that idea a little bit as I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today. That idea of looking at something with two sides to it, looking at something as complex, more than one interpretation of it. And I was thinking about past chapel talks that I've given, and I've talked a lot in the past about our school motto before, what is our school motto? Matthew Fenn. I told Matthew I was going to call on him yesterday to buy you lunch. He didn't think I'd actually do it. But what is it, Matthew? I know this is very unfair. You're only in second form. You've only been here for like 6 months or so, but it's a school motto. Well, that's the honor code. I mean, that's, those are good rules to live by for sure. It's not exactly the school motto. Don't worry about it, Matthew. Our school motto is up behind me. It's on the left-hand side of the triptych there. It's every good gift and every perfect act of giving is from above. And I was thinking about that motto and my old chapel talks and that idea of complexity. I was thinking about virtue a little bit. We've heard a lot about that in chapel throughout the last couple of years. And I was thinking about looking at that motto two different ways and looking at it in terms of two different virtues. And to me, that motto is all about every good gift that you receive, well, you should have gratitude. You should be grateful for the things that you've been given in life. But then the second part of it, every perfect act of giving, you should give gifts. You should be courageous enough to use the gifts that you've been given and do something about it, to make yourself the gift, to give of yourself, to use your gifts to help other people. I was thinking about all that, and I started thinking about my own high school experience a little bit. When I entered high school as a 9th grader, I was very much a football player. That's all I was. That was my whole identity. I was pretty good at school, but I was a football player. And that's all I was really interested in. When I was in high school, it's a slightly different time. Not all that long ago, but this would have been the summer of 2007, going into my 9th grade year. For better or worse, mostly for worse, let's just say hazing, bullying was slightly more accepted than it is now. And my football team had a tradition where every new student to the school, you had to get up in front of the entire team and sing a song. We called it Sing for Ice Cream. You stood up in front of the team, you had to sing. If you were really bad, they booed you, they threw things at you, they made you pick a new song, whatever it was. But if you did a really good job, you got to eat ice cream and you're a member of the team. You're accepted. So like I said, this was 2007. I was 14 years old. The movie Anchorman was a big, influence for me at the time. So I decided to sing Afternoon Delight. I'm sorry I can't sing it here in chapel. It's not very appropriate. But anyway, I sang this song, Afternoon Delight. You can probably guess what it's about based on the title. And I did pretty well. I got my ice cream. But afterwards, I didn't realize this. My head football coach had gone to our choir director and said, hey, Colin Ponder, he needs to be in choir. I had no plans about joining choir, but I found myself that first day of high school, A block, hour and a half, sitting in the choir room. And choir was great. I was able to realize this gift that I had been given. I was able to use that gift, and it was awesome. I got to travel the world, sing in different countries. I got to, be in plays and be in a cappella groups, and it was awesome. But the greatest gift that I got from that experience were the people that I was in choir with. That first day of choir class, I was a bass, and the way we set up the room was kind of in a U shape. So we went tenors, bass, soprano, alto. So I was sitting next to the soprano section, and I was sitting next to this girl named Meredith, also a freshman with me at the time. And I was a new student. Obviously, I wasn't from here. I didn't know anyone. This was my first class. And Meredith really became my first real friend in high school. We really hit it off. We really got along. We became really good friends pretty quickly. A few months into that year, I find out that from some other friends of mine that Meredith has developed a bit of a crush on me. And I responded like most 14-year-old boys respond when they find out a girl has a crush on them. I completely ignored her. I avoided it. I was awkward about it. I pretended she no longer existed. I stopped talking to her completely. I failed as a friend, to be completely honest. She was a really good friend of mine, and I just sort of stopped talking to her. And unfortunately, that sort of continued for a few years. Let's fast forward to my junior year of high school. Into this junior year, we're going to prom. I'm going to prom with a different girl, not Meredith. But we're all in the same sort of friend group, so we all go out to dinner before prom. And we're sitting at dinner, and Meredith tells us that she has something important to say, that she wants all of us to know. She tells us that she's been diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder. She doesn't exactly know what it is. They're not exactly sure, but she might not be coming back to school the next year. Again, high school boy, not really wanting to address my feelings. I kind of just ignore it and forget about it. Meredith doesn't come back to school the next fall. Eventually she does in the wintertime, but she's been receiving a lot of medical treatment. Her kidneys were failing and not doing really well. And when she came back to school, her face was very swollen from the medication she was receiving. She looked very different. She had lost a lot of weight, but her face was very large and swollen. And again, I was a bad friend. I avoided her. I wasn't there for her. All these sorts of things. We end up graduating. I go off to college. All my friends go off to college. Meredith doesn't. She has to stay home. She's receiving treatment. All these sorts of things. But in that stretch of time, Meredith was given a gift, a great gift. Her stepfather donated one of his kidneys to her, saved her life. I matured a little bit, thankfully. Got back in touch with her. We became really great friends again. And Meredith, she had this awful thing that had happened to her, but she didn't view it that way. I think she saw it with complexity. She saw it as a gift, as something to be grateful for. And she was brave enough and courageous enough to use that gift to help others. She began working with organ donation. She began working with different foundations and companies to raise awareness for organ donation. She traveled the country with organs, delivering them to people, saving lives directly through her work, through her example. My second year here at St. James, I left over spring long weekend. I went to Meredith's wedding. It was wonderful. I apologize for how bad a friend I had been throughout high school, but she, obviously forgave me. And it was great. About a year later, after that wedding, Meredith died. Because of her organ donation, she was immune compromised. She ended up getting the flu one winter. It got progressively worse, and she didn't make it. And I remember feeling really bitter about that. I remember feeling really angry. This young person, this person with so much life, this person who had done so much good for others, it just didn't really seem fair to me at all. And one day I was sitting in this chapel. It was during a contemplative chapel, I remember. And I was contemplating a little bit, I guess. And I was reading our school motto up there: every good gift and every perfect act of giving is from above. And I was thinking about Meredith and the motto and everything else. And I realized that gratitude and gifts, not every gift that you're given in life is good. At least not at first glance. Sometimes in life you're going to be given things, presented with things that are challenging. You're going to be presented with adversity in some way. It's not always going to be good. Can you look at it as complex, though? Can you see more than one interpretation in what you've been presented? Meredith was dealt a really bad hand in life, but she didn't view it that way. She saw it as a gift. She saw it as a way to impact other lives. She saw it as a way to help others. Perspective is what matters. In life, as I said, you may be given hard breaks, adversity may come, but can you see it as a gift? Can you be grateful for things that have happened to you, even when those things aren't necessarily good? And like Meredith, can you be brave enough and have the courage to do something about it? To make yourself a gift. To take what you've been given and use that to help others. Can you look at something with a little two sides to it, as complex?